'Cause a night has 1,000 eyes, and 1,000 eyes can't help but see if you are true to me.
Yes, that night does have 1,000 eyes. In other words, take a look and see what's truthfully there. You can't hide. See, so I see these things, these events in transformative ways. I understand completely why people will choose to suffer grievously and grievous harm and damage to themselves and their properties and their lands in order to see transformation take place. You see, that's the real level at life, and that's the real level at which it is lived, this life. It's the soul presence, it's the heart consciousness, as I call it, the creative aspects. And we create in many different ways, sometimes through recreation, sometimes we have to let go of the entire past. Let it become rubble. Let those temples we've built to our heart and so forth just fall apart. And there's something better there to replace them, and it's called truth. It's called living in the reality of love. It's called awakening in the blossoming time of the fullest time of humanity. Yes, indeed, when the hearts of this human race can finally now be seen, heard, felt in this creation. And the wildness of the demonstration of this reality is just going to blow your jets. I know it's blowing them already. It blows mine all the darn time. As we go through and process all these internal changes to match the reality and the changes around us. See, it's a mutual thing. We're living in that creation. Watch your life. Watch Nepal. See the similarities. See, we're having a little earthquake inside. We had a little earthquake inside, and baby, it shattered the bullshit reality. We can't live in it anymore. The vibe tribe has arrived in the vibe. And that's where the tribe will be from here on out, don't you see? We're living creatively now. We're not taking this shit lying down except for when we're processing, right? Or doing other joyous things to bring forward the light, or sleeping because, wow, sometimes we got to. Seems like, wow, why should we ever rest? Yet I rest all the darn time. Isn't that amazing? Partying down and resting at the same time. How do you do this stuff? It's the transformative reality. You see, there's this place here where we act out the little dramas. And if we focus on the body and the dramas and all that goes on around it, baby, we get stuck in it. You know, same way we can get stuck in a pile of love when it becomes cloistering love, that which pulls us away from reality and brings us into a singular place of being that isn't too connected. It just keeps shrinking itself in and more into self, empty, trying to fill it, you know. Yeah, that's the old way, baby. You pull yourself into it now, you're going to find what you're looking for. There's no two ways about it. So you got to be careful then. You know, we've been real casual about things in the past, especially our love arrangements with others. Babies, you got to be careful. What that means is pay attention to the flow of your heart and create it the way that heart would have it. Let it be what it is, in other words. Don't try to make something out of nothing or nothing out of something, because it's already made there. See the flow and the direction, the way the heart is taking you. As, you know, we recreate ourselves from the inside out. It's like we're each tiny little babies on this very morning, just starting to wake up to the truth of our reality. Nothing can be hidden from us. Nothing can deceive us any longer. The deception in this reality, for the most part, is over with. Because you can see past tragedy and see the triumph within it. Because you can experience inside yourself what's going on in this earth around you and come to a deeper point of understanding of the ways of creation. And be more in that flow yourself, more conscious in your heart presence, and therefore able to more readily influence the reality around you. And we bring this new transition forward as gracefully and as gently as we possibly can. There's lots of very unusual changes going on around the earth right now. There's some real desire in some people's hearts to create a huge worldwide disaster. That's, why these things are happening. There are machinery and equipments at work, and I won't go on to describe them, but you know what they are. It's all that super secret shit that ain't so secret anymore. The night has 1,000 eyes. We see you. And guess what? In seeing you, and seeing the love in you, and in all your machinery too, we disempower any evil intention, any ill intention towards humanity. Understanding that's kind of self-destructive, that we don't want to play in that field anymore, that it's insane to try and destroy yourself by attacking others, It just doesn't make sense anymore now, does it? And in fact, the very opposite begins to occur now, because we can arrange this reality any way we want to. So your machines, instead of creating disasters, now create triumphs. And if you take a look, that's what they've been doing. You're unleashing, the underworld, but guess what? Now there's not going to be subterfuge and deceit any longer that will operate in this reality. The 1,000 eyes have awakened. And they see you, and they know what you're up to, and they know your heart, and they know you can't hold to the mischief any longer. That your gods are releasing themselves from the terror, the stupidity of the underworld, the mundane, ground-down existence that makes one so grumpy and mean they want to kill everybody and everything. Who the hell wants to live there? Nobody. So they're all coming out, babies, and you're just helping to release them with your dumbass little efforts to destroy the planetary reality of Earth. And then somehow commandeer the universe as a result. You guys are so full of shit. You smell to high heaven. But just like cow shit, there's a sweet edge to it, and we see that too. We understand your heart. We know what the real flow is. We know what your real desire is. And guess what? It's on the same page as our desire. The very deep, basic desire to be reunited with our heart, our mother love inside. We feel unnurtured. We feel separate from the mother, like a child weaned away too early. And so humanity's been throwing fits ever since. It's been a long time since we began this form of journeying. But finally now inside of ourselves, we're going to that mother, and we're nursing, just like little babies do. And we're receiving not nourishment and nutrition through the milk of the physicality, but the milk of the reality, the dawn of the true vision. It comes through the mother's heart, through the milk of her breast, into your conscious presence. Because you are an extension of this mother's love, and going back to that primal moment and nursing as the new child that we are brings us back into that presence of reality, the true heart, the true life being lived, and therefore we can't be fooled by scary tragedies and stupid movements of the military. Babies, we're neutralizing the toxic effect in these beings right now as we allow this transformation to take place inside of ourselves. Such is the mutuality of creation. And you're strong enough. And you catch on, billions catch on. And uncountable numbers beyond that. I remember when I was facing one of my death moments 30 years ago or something like that, 25 years ago. It was quite a poetic little moment, but that's what the beings and spirits were essentially telling me. And I couldn't quite understand it at the time because I sure didn't see myself as too significant here. But they were telling me that countless, billions, trillions, countless numbers of lives hang in the balance whether I wanted to live or die right then. And I looked at them and said, you guys are crazy, man. I'm just a little guy. What can I do, Boy, did we ever find out after that. Because I made the right choices then, because I'd already made them. See, there are no real choices. We go through the drama of it to reinforce the idea that we've chosen already. Because the choosing was in the beginning of time. We chose to go through this experience to diminish ourselves to nothing, but in the end to return to ourself, to our great and humble beginning, to truthfully acknowledge the real heart in which we live, and let go of all of these illusions that we've created here, especially the darker ones that seem to be so evil and nasty and so bent on destroying the earth. I mean, they're just amazed. at their powerlessness. They got all of this technology. Secret as all get out, you know. They could almost rip the planet apart if they wanted to. I mean, you know, it's just a sick thought, a sick feeling inside of them, and sickness throughout this reality because of it. But guess what? Dr. Feelgood's here, and all you gotta do is feel good about it, see what's really there so you can, and guess what? Goodbye, Charlie. Kiss all of that goodbye. Because all they can do and all they can produce in their opposition to truth is more truth. They reinforce it. You know, it's the opposite. This is what I'm saying. They're very amazed. They're sitting there in their little dens of iniquity under the ground, wherever the hell they might be, and snickering as they think they're watching humanity die off because of all the aluminum powder in the air, for one. I mean, there's several attacks and assaults upon this life on this planet right now by the very people that seem to think they run it. They want massive population die-off. Starvation everywhere. I mean, they're just some real idiots, you know. But the more they try to create disaster and mayhem, the more they bring forward the unity of heart, the truth in creation, and the people that surround them, and the less they're going to have soldiers to do this kind of shit with, because they're getting enlightened too. They're people, man. Even if they're engineered machines, you know, through genetic technologies to be these super warriors that have no conscious presence, guess what they do? You can't breed it out of them. If they got humanity, they got conscious presence, and it's coming back to life. Inside of all the beings that live, not just one or two. Not just this little vibe tribe, which is a great beginning, the little seed at the center of it all, man, from which the blossom and the whole flower grows, man. Absolutely. And that's not to diminish our role here. Hell, it's fun. It's beautiful. Yeah, we get to be the one, man. Each and every one of us, don't you know? Get a little Jesus in this rock and roll show. That means, wow, it's us. Each one of us is, quote, quote, the one. The one heart in all things that live, and that's why we can so tremendously impact the reality around us in the recognition of that simple fact. It's living beyond this world again. It's taking that step into creation where we truthfully are, and understanding the dramatic and poetic nature of the display we do here, but seeing the reality that it's all created in love in that realm there, which is here inside of us creating. You see, it's one thing. There are no divisions in life. It just seems to be that way. It's programming and conditioning that creates these feelings of separation and the divine loneliness that goes with it, you see. The truth is, we're united. Our physical presences can unite themselves too, right along with that unification at any moment, because we're already alive in the presence of each other. You see what I mean? As we wake up to the full extent of our creative nature and our place in this creation, well, there's no place in creation we can't be physically. We'll gather our energy together anywhere and be consciously present there at any moment, any place, with any people, at any time, any place. Because we have and we are the creation. And because we live in that creation, all of it, we feel it all, then we can draw ourselves to certain points and places in it where we need to be, and we just recoalesce ourselves there. See, over here, we're in the field of love here, you know, rising up in form and format, up out of that energy field in which all things are united and do live and are created from. The great projector, I call it, you know. It's so beautiful to be living in that creative heart. I just can't thank you enough for being willing here to see beyond the bullshit reality. Not everybody will just yet, but everybody's seeing it. Isn't it amazing? There's so much resistance, yet there's no resistance at all. Not inside of you, not inside of me. Do you feel it this morning? The flow is a little smoother, don't you notice? There's a whole lot less resistance, if any at all. I mean, inside of us, it's practically over with. The desire to fight, to have resistance to fight with, etc. It's just about finished. And you know what that means? That means a life that goes on forever in a very enlightened way. in a body that's completely harmonious with itself and all of the reality around it, that's completely capable, yes, of deforming itself here and reforming itself there, because it lives in creation. It can be anywhere and everywhere it wants to be at any time. Again, I point this out to us. There's no distance in time then. We just step beyond it. Because we're in the distance of creation, which is not separate from itself whatsoever. That's part of the divine matrix. There is no space. The final frontier. Sorry, Captain Kirk and Picard and Uncle Charlie and all the rest of you guys have been them flying robots too from way back in the day when they sold Campbell soup that way. I remember those archaic little sci-fi. They were trying to get the population ready for something, aren't they? These mind controllers, these brain washers. Well, we're heart washers, babies. We know how to undo some brainwashing real hurriedly and how to clean up some hearts real spectacularly, you know. So, darlings, just dream it into being this way. Just see what's really here. In other words, see the true miracle that's occurring here. Hey, I'm going to read you just as a special treat today. Gather around my little campfire here now, guys, and token to you with my beautiful Mary Jane Gateway to Paradise coffee mug, baby, right here beside the campfire of love. You feel it warm in your heart right now, don't you? Here's to you, babies. We love you so sincerely and dearly. So much so we've given our best world, man. You know, you guys get to work it out. Well, now let's keep up with tradition here as you're working it out. Oh, babies. A nice little toke of some sacred herb, MJ, so she can help us along the way, wouldn't you say? Oh, magic moments come when you let them, please. Oh, please, open. Let it happen, babies. Be the magic that you are. Token to you and token for freedom everywhere so that we can smoke our MJ sacredly in any way, in any place that we please, man. We pretty much do it anyway, but let's make it legitimate. Let's bless our little heart with legitimacy. Let's bless the heart of MJ for helping set us free right here on this Coyote Medicine Show and inside of our living life we call the work of art. Work of heart. Yeah, heart art, babies. That's what we're up to here. That's what you're up to there, too, whether you know it or not. There is divine artistry in life, babies. All the way through, wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you? Ah, such a blessed little toke, I tell you. I feel like I'm sitting in the hot springs, soaking up to my neck and, you know, scalding water, man. 106, 107, 108 degrees. And just loving it, man. In a few minutes after I've transformed myself and become one with the water and been born again out in those embryonic hot spring waters, man, then I'm going to come forward out of there. And it's going to be like about 35, 40 degrees around the pool, and I'm going to get myself tingly. Just go lay on one of those chaise lounges in the sun and get that, you know, because you get that so much heat in your body. You can lay out there 10, 15 minutes before you ever feel the chill, you know. Pretty amazing, but, ooh, just gets you that tingly feeling all over, brings you back to life. See, this is when you begin to realize life is indeed a living work of art, and we are the artists that paint the pictures we live in, babies. And that's why we love them so much, because it's our own work of heart. The moment we live in, of right now. So we can have it any way we want it. We can have it as we will, according to the dictates of our conscious heart. That flow, man. That divine artistry that comes forward through us. Gives such richness to our life. Simple moments can be such great pleasures. Moments that we will always treasure forever and ever. You know, that's what sets us free. Is that treasury we've built up in our hearts, you know, don't you see? And if you don't have one, well, we got plenty to share. There's lots of love, and it's everywhere. It's inside of everything, everyone, and everybody. Oh, isn't this fun, painting this little picture of life. Hey, listen, I'm going to read you a little segment out of this book called The Atomic Bum, B-U-M, like your backside or the hobo that comes to your door, by Coyote Bear, which is one of my pseudonyms that I use frequently in creative endeavors, you know, when I want to veil and disguise my energy just a tiny bit. Ho, ho, ho. Why I use a pseudonym, I don't know. Just because it's part of the title, really. Because it says, what it tells you is this is going to be a real revealing book. Well, of course it is here, you know. And I've just opened the book up to one of the more poetic moments in my life, or this character, I say my life very loosely, because it's really the character Good Dude's life, and I'm just relating it to you the way Good Dude told it to me, okay? So here we go. Page 174 of The Atomic Bum. I'm just going to read a little segment out of here. Context of Dude's partying with some friends at his rancho way back in the mountains in Oregon there, and in conjunction with a Hopi gathering down at the Grand Canyon that he couldn't get to, so they held a little party, a little drumbeat party there at his ranch, and a number of folks showed up, and folks were having a good time. So here we go. The good vibe of the party and people soaked into me a little, and I began to relax and enjoy those vibes. Then inside I heard this voice tell me to open my palms facing upward alongside me, which I did. Instantly a glittering rainbow-colored triangle formed between my open palms and the center spot of my forehead, and brightly colored and powerful energy began pouring through me. Above me I heard the cry of a hawk, one that sounded a lot like one of the red-tails we had living in the canyon behind the house. Opening my eyes, I saw this huge spotted eagle gently floating in the air above me, not more than 100 feet up, his eyes staring right into me. The energy of the rainbow triangle now expanded, enveloping both myself and the spotted eagle into a cloud of bright and energetic light, while a strong connection formed between us. Neither of us hardly noticing the diving attacks of the defensive and territorial red-tails, who were busily engaged in trying to get the huge bird to move along. When they dive upon him, the eagle merely fluffed them off, maintaining his present position above me, hanging as still in the air as could be, the energy flowing between us, continuing to grow stronger and brighter. "This is how you commune," said a voice from deep inside me. "This is how you open, so that you'll continue to grow." "Yes," I replied meekly, "I am with you, and you are me." From that moment onward, life began to change for me, though I cannot say that I started getting better right away. The bumps in life simply smoothed out a little, and serendipity became a closer friend. And I became much more open to receiving the energies that I knew somewhere deep in my bones could heal me from this awful illness. The eagle and I continued our communion for over an hour, though I couldn't keep track of time then if I wanted to. And everyone on the place was drawn into that mystical and magical moment, each of them gazing in awe as this huge eagle floating above us, each of them receiving of that powerful energy in their own way. In all my years, I had never seen anything like this before. Wow. Now, I'd heard of spotted eagles before, but to the best of my recollection, I'd never seen one. Spotted eagles, I figured, were the stuff of legends and stories, kind of along the same lines as dragons and fairies. Until this day, I figured they were something of the past, perhaps even something of the realm of spirit, and not something that actually lived here on this Mother Earth. To see this bright being floating above, to feel his energy in my heart, was something more than I could ever imagine for myself. Just where had it come from? Where was it taking me? And where, oh where, did I want to go with it? The bird had a huge wingspan, stretching out to something like 8 or 10 feet, one of the largest eagles I'd ever seen. And in my travels around this world, I'd seen a lot of them. His sharp eyes were dark but lively black, accentuated by a slight shade of red. His curved beak was colored bright gold, his feathered body a dusty dark gray, the spots on his wings and underbelly kind of a misty white. and there was no mistaking his eagleship. He held himself regal and above it all, one of life's avid watchers, and perhaps one of its creators. After a while, the majestic bird floated off over our hayfield across the road, but not before giving me this major blessing. "You are who you are," is the message I received. And whoever that was, he was also the spotted eagle. A few days after the gathering, I was feeling well enough to drive the 50 miles into Grand Pass to see the naturopath. The eagle had continued hanging around our little valley, hunting a few of our digger squirrels, cousins to the prairie dog, and just in general enjoying the vibe and breezes of our little mountain paradise. We'd see him floating overhead quite often, and then see him hanging out in a few of the trees that grew around the hayfield, watching us while smiling inside, a smile that you could feel from a mile away, a smile that reassured me that everything was going to be okay. As I drove out of our little valley that bright morning, the eagle swooped down and flew right alongside my car for a distance of more than a mile or so, his flight steadily pacing with my car, his heart holding steadily with mine, his eyes forward, his flight sure. He knew where he was going, and now so did I. When I drove into the area where the canyon narrows and the stand of trees thickens, the eagle swooped back up into the air where I couldn't see him any longer. Then, as I rounded the next bend on the road, there stood one of my good mountain hippie brothers offering me the pipe of peace, filled with some of the sweetest herb I'd ever smoked, which really mellowed me out and prepared me for my little visit with the naturopath that day, which led to some real and genuine openings in my life. Incredible moments, eh? Incredible connections with nature and life. Incredible experiences with the reality of the spirit realm manifesting in the physical reality. You know, it wasn't too long after that I was communing with angels and masters and all kinds of stuff, you know. It's amazing where you can go when you start to reconnect with your original energies. And these, as you gather and grow in the heart, will be quite naturally drawn to you in the same way that eagle came to me, just out of nowhere. I didn't expect that. But there it was. And yes, it was spirit as well as physical. But physical because it lived there with us for a while and stays with me in my heart forevermore. He's one of the founders of this Spirit Wind Productions, which produces this Coyote Medicine show here on the Hazy Radio. Now that was back about, I'd say, 1994 or so. I even know the exact date, but I ain't going to give it today. I don't know why, I just don't feel like it. But anyway, it's like, wow, that was an amazing and awakening time. Shit, just like these times of now, only now we're far more expansive with it, you see. Then it was just bringing me back to life so I could share that with others, you know. Now it's all of us coming back to life because it's already been shared everywhere, and now it's here to stay. You see, it's just going to grow in us, you know, and there's the nuclei, the little vibe tribe at the center of it all, you know, just like cells and atoms form little nuclei and grow a body and a soul and presence out from that, you know. And it might be a furry little puppy dog, might be a grand looking babe, the hot chick herself, could be anything, you know, some gruffy old man with a white whisker, right? It forms itself as it will, and we become the characters within that formation. And see, in the character is our artistry practiced, the same way actors and actresses become the characters they play. You see, this is our artistry. It's the science of living in this acting way while being conscious of the creative presence, you see. So we become this person and that one together. You see, we are the off-screen actor, actress person that we are, but we're also this character in this grand play. Let's say, for this instance, the white-bearded old man that I be today, you know, and it's just like, wow. Learning to dance with it, to flow with it, to be colorful with it, to let it be you, to be the very reunion of realms inside of yourself. These moments that I speak of, like the spotted eagle moment, are the moments of the beginning. which repeats itself again and again and again, because we're always beginning, you see? And then it becomes the beginning, the center of creation. And we begin to experience our lives far differently than we ever did before. Perhaps our eagle nature arises. Perhaps we begin to see and connect with life in a whole new way. Perhaps we're taken off right now in this moment, wouldn't you say? And flying higher than a kite, babies, with sharp eyes, soaring around, watching the earth, feeling her, loving her, and all of the spirits that unite to bring her together with this flight. Oh yeah, you got that right. Grandpa Coyote sharing the medicine of the coyote here on this Coyote Medicine Show. Only and exclusively on the ever-loving Hazy Radio Network, babies. You got it on now, babies. Yee.